All right. Can you tell us your name and the type of career that you have pursued?
Well, my name is Penny Proctor, and I practiced law for 30 years. 4 years of that, I worked as an associate in a law firm, and the remaining time of that, I spent as in-house corporate counsel for a nonprofit healthcare system.
I see. Takes a lot of education to do the things you did. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. If you want to be a lawyer, first of all, you have to get a bachelor's degree. And it can
Right.
be a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. And it really doesn't matter what the major is. I know that there's a lot of people who think you need to major in pre-law or political science or history, and those are all good options. But my majors were in English and what was called communication arts. Today we would call it marketing. Uh, I went to law school with people who had degrees in music and engineering and accounting. So any bachelor's degree, no matter what it's in, is going to give you the building blocks that you need to succeed in law school and then later in the profession.
You had to be a pretty good student in undergraduate to get into law school?
Yes, you do. Um, the law schools, you know, law schools are all different and they will all look at applicants and they will have their standards that are based on a combination of your GPA in college plus the score that you get on what's called the LSAT, the SAT for law. And so you can, when you know those two things, you can go to various websites and find out which schools are likely to accept you based on your personal record.
So when I graduate from law school, bam, I'm a lawyer.
You are. Uh,
Really? I thought
yeah,
you had to pass a test, a bar
well,
exam.
it depends on what you want to do with that
Oh,
degree. When you graduate from law school, the degree is called Juris Doctor.
right.
And so you are at that point a lawyer, but if you want to actually practice law, you have to pass the bar exam in the state where you live. You may also want to take a federal bar exam if you think you're going to be practicing in the federal courts. But many people get that JD degree and do something else. They start their own business or they go into teaching and academia. Uh, so you are a lawyer when you have that JD degree. You just can't be a practicing attorney until you pass a bar exam.
Say I have that federal licensure or whatever you called it just now.
Yeah.
Can I practice in any state I want?
No, no. You would take a bar exam for the federal district where you're practicing. So Columbus, for example, is the Southern District of Ohio. I took the federal bar exam for the Southern District of Ohio and I could practice there. I could not practice in Cleveland, in the federal courts in Cleveland, which are in the Northern Division, without either taking that bar or getting the court to agree that I could practice for one case only.
Now, most people, or many people, think that being a lawyer is standing in front of a judge and arguing to keep someone out of jail or something like that. Is that what most lawyers do, actually?
We're thinking of the litigants that we see on television. And I mean, a lot of lawyers are litigators.
Mm.
And when we say litigator, there's both civil litigation and criminal litigation. We usually see the criminal litigation on television, where you are either a prosecutor or a defense attorney. And then in civil, there's all manner of everything from medical malpractice to real estate cases to breach of contract cases. It runs a gamut. It can all end up in court. But there's a whole lot to do in law that's not litigation. And that's what I was doing because I discovered early on that I did not have the stomach, literally, to be a litigator and realize that somebody else's fate was in my hands. Uh, that just really upset my digestive tract. So I went into corporate law where we are more dealing with documents and business issues and healthcare issues, but rarely, if ever, actually in court.
I would think a corporate lawyer has to be a really good reader. You have to be
Yes.
able to comprehend everything you read and apply and cross-reference all kinds of things. So, what type of person excels in your field? In the type of job, in the type of law that you pursued? Who, what is a prime perfect candidate for that?
Well, it needs to be somebody who, you're right, loves to read, and can easily assimilate information from what they've read, knows how to communicate both in writing and orally, and knows their audience when they are doing that because you address non-lawyers one way and you address other lawyers a different way. So you
Mm.
have to understand who you are addressing. You have to know how to research and really enjoy research. And frankly, legal research has changed completely since I left the practice. It has become fully automated now, and it was just heading in that direction when I was practicing. So it's probably a little easier than it used to be. We used to have to go into the library and pull out books and then cross-reference and do all of that. You still have to do that, but it's going to go faster online.
Right. How does someone say I'm interested in pursuing some law-related profession? How can I narrow this down? There's so many options. How could I identify my own niche?
Well, it will take time. The first thing you have to do is just make up your mind that you're not going to get, or you're very unlikely to get that answer right off the bat. I would suggest, in high school, seeing if you can find a job in a law firm as what law firms have runners and clerks. I'm going to a little C clerk because they have law students who are big C clerks.
Mhm.
But basically, people who do odd jobs around the law firm. Uh, they keep you busy, but you also get a chance to see what's going on and what it's like day to day. Those opportunities probably exist in prosecutor offices as well. Uh, and certainly when you are in law school, you are expected to find a position like that in a law firm or a prosecutor's office or a legal clinic of some time. I forgot about legal clinics. People can look for jobs in legal clinics as well. They don't pay very well. None of these jobs are going to pay great. You're doing it for the experience rather than the money. But it will expose you to what's going on so you can get an idea of whether you like it or not.
Once I'm into a career and I find that it's too burdensome or maybe too hard on my digestive system, can you pivot and move into a different type of law easily?
Absolutely.
Or is
No,
that like starting all over again?
um, no, it's really, it doesn't have to be starting all over again. I suppose it could be, but I pivoted. I went from a law firm setting to a corporate setting, and uh, I part of that I was very lucky in the way that that happened. I did not have to go looking for that opportunity. It found me. Uh, but you can look for those other opportunities and take that leap of faith and give it a try someplace else.
Did you personally dislike the legal firm environment for some reason?
It was the environment. Um, in a
What about that? Like why did you pivot?
I was great people. I loved the people I was working with, but as a young associate in a law firm, you are expected to generate a set number of billable hours.
Mm.
And that set number usually means that you're in the office 6 or 7 days a week, not necessarily a full 6 or 7. You might spend, most of your Saturday and half of your Sunday in the office, as well as long hours Monday through Friday. But what finally got to me was the timesheets. In order to document your billable hours, you have to fill out timesheets, and it breaks your life down into 15-minute increments. And you have to account for every 15 minutes of your day, and that I just couldn't do that. I felt too intrusive and too burdensome, and it was just something that bothered me. So I made that change.
Is it pretty, is there a distinction money-wise between different areas? What is the most profitable
Oh,
or the most, um, lucrative
okay. Probably,
area in law?
yeah. And there's a couple that I'm sure are more lucrative than others. One is if you are really successful as a malpractice attorney and can get some big verdict cases because you take those on contingency, which means you're going to get a percentage of a verdict, and that can be 30 to 40%. So if you're talking millions of dollars, you're getting a lot for one case. Mergers and acquisitions can be very lucrative. Um, Patent law can be very lucrative if you happen to get the right clients that get some really hit the home run with their patent. The least lucrative, probably no surprise, um, public defense work
Mm, right,
and legal clinics where you are providing low cost or no cost legal services to the public. They don't pay well at all. People do that for the satisfaction that they get from it, not
yeah.
because it's going to make them rich. Um, Generally speaking, working in governmental roles doesn't pay as well as working in the private sector. That may change at the highest levels of the governmental roles, but lower level, you'll make more money in the private sector than you will governmental.
We could talk all day
Yeah.
about this field because there are just so many different facets that you could pursue, and I would think even moving from one law firm to another law firm practicing the exact same type of duties could be very, very different just based on your clients and your coworkers and the people with whom you are busy every day. I'm guessing it's just so the variety is just so vast in
Well,
your area.
it is. And when you move into corporate law, again, I worked for a nonprofit healthcare system. We had
Okay.
hospitals and we had nursing homes and we had home health agencies. Uh, but I had to work in generally all areas of business law, plus the overlay of healthcare, which includes working with the physicians, working with risk management, working with the nurses, and working with all of the regulations that are in the healthcare field. So people used to ask me what I do, and I'd say I do a little bit of everything.
That's right. Well, Penny, you've been very helpful. I can't imagine how you can encapsulate your whole career into a very tiny amount of time. But if there is a student who is interested in learning more about the type of career you've followed so far, would you mind if they connected with you through this
No, that would be
webpage?
fine. That would be fine.
I appreciate talking to you. I could talk to you all day and learn something new every minute. Thank you so much, Penny.
Well, thank you, Chris.
It's my pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye bye.